Hey everyone, Stacks here, talking New Mutants number 2, which I was pleasantly surprised with. If you just completely checked out a New Mutants after that really cringy number 1 issue, you shouldn't have, because I think they are heading somewhere that's going to be pretty awesome. I am behind on videos, so I am going to try to blaze through this while still keeping it high quality, but I also want to cover Fallen Angels 2, and to make things work, tomorrow is New Comic Book Day, so I am a week behind because of the holidays, but hey, let's go. One thing I do have to say about this book and the way Marvel is rolling out these previews, and I've been trying to do preview videos for the X titles. I will say that they did not do this book any service by showing the first 4 pages of it in a preview, because the first 4 pages are extremely cringy. But right around the 5th or 6th page, it hits its stride and it starts feeling, the book gets a lot better after that. I've had people say they sat it down after about the 4th page and they never came back to it, and I've had people also say that they were about to throw it across the room or rip it in half, and they kept going and they were glad they did. But jumping into it, what you get in the first couple pages is you get Sunfire. He's kind of just gloating on himself, but he's talking about how he did the smart thing before he went to space this time, and he signed X Corp over to a bunch of lawyers. He also lets you know that when they ran into the issue with the Starjammers back in issue 1, whatever it was the Starjammers were trying to steal, they managed to swipe it out by placing it inside a Mondo before the Starjammers took the casing that they were after. Of course, it was their actions back in New Mutants 1 that led them to getting arrested by the Shi'ar Empire, and now they're in Shi'ar Court, which, ironically, I don't know if it's ironically, but for whatever reason, they have orange jumpsuits in space too. Who knew? Once they're in court, their lawyer tries to argue that there's like extra cultural background stuff that should factor in for the accused. Well, the judge ain't having it, because his standpoint is that either it is currently within the Shi'ar Empire or it is soon to be within the Shi'ar Empire. So the lawyer's excuse of pleading ignorance doesn't fly, and the lawyer, he doesn't have a backup plan, so he just rolls over and plays dead. And Sunspot is like, somebody ain't getting paid. Well, to make things worse, not only are they guilty, they're guilty and charged with a life sentence. Well, it's okay, because when they're turned over to the guards, we find out that the guards they're turned over to include Cannonball. And of course, everyone's excited to see him. And he's got his wife in tow, who is I don't know, she seems like a peach. But anyway, she is actually a super guardian for the Shi'ar Empire, and she actually reveals that her and Cannonball, Sam, they have a baby together. And when the lawyer called to get help, it actually woke the baby, so she's ticked off about that. But she's really useful here because she explains the situation to all of the New Mutants. She explains to them that, no, look, you're still prisoners, you're convicted felons, we own you right now, but we're working to get that taken care of before we get to Chandelier, however you say it. It's at this point that Sunspot's been just a complete kind of douche during this whole time. He's kind of been standing back with his arms folded. This is, his best buddy that he hadn't seen in forever. He's sitting there all grumpified. So Sam calls him out on it. He's like, well, what's going on? What's your problem, Bobby? And he shoots back, basically, you're my problem. It's been months since we've seen each other, and I was expecting you to be a complete mess. Depressed, out of shape, bad hair, worse complexion. But look at you, happy, healthy, exceptionally fit. How does that even happen? And Sam's just like, man, chalk it up to good living. He's like, look at you on the other hand. Space pirates and prison food? What are you wearing, a jumper? He's like, oh yeah, and it's itchy too, but this place isn't that bad. And Sam's just blowing him off like, unbelievable, man. Anyone want to snap him out of this? Well, his wife takes full advantage of the opportunity and says, yeah, I'll do it, and just knocks the fire out of him, busts him in the nose, has him bleeding all over his orange jumper, and Sam's like, hey man, you better be careful. That won't wash out of that orange very easy. But when Bobby asks, hey, what was that for? She sits there and rips into him saying, look, there is a whole division of Skrull shock troopers laying waste to a Shi'ar outpost right now. There's a bunch of Imperial guards there having to try to fight them off, and we're here because Sam, he technically can't take you into custody yet. On top of that, we had to use a different babysitter than usual, so she's freaking out mom-wise. But after that, man, Bobby and Sam are back together. They've gives him a big hug, puts his arm around him. He asks him, "Did you bring my space outfit?" He's like, "Of course I did. You think I wouldn't?" And like that, they're boys, and they are heading out. From there, the group is taken off back to Chandalar. I know I'm pronouncing that wrong. And on the way, they receive a message that basically redirects them. And what we find out is that the entire team is pardoned. They are no longer felons. However, they also were just conscripted in to the army of the Shi'ar Empire. And oh, by the way, we have our first mission. We're en route now. Back on the Shi'ar throne world, we're reintroduced to Exandra, which is Professor X's and Lilandra's daughter. And if you're asking yourself, where's Lilandra at? She died back in a event in 2009 that involved a lot of the cosmic Vulcan, Darkhawk, a bunch of the cosmic beings, and a big civil war that broke out in the Shi'ar Empire. And she was killed by Darkhawk, who was controlled by Reis at the time during that event. But anyway, she's coming of age, and she is on the throne, and she's asking the Guardian to, take this. And he's like, "I can't take this from you. I rule through might." That's how even though I'm the Magister, I cannot provide you the kind of guidance you need. And we find out what's pushing this is there's a couple different situations going on across the galaxy that are threatening all-out war on the Shi'ar Empire. So because of that, and some of the decisions that she's going to have to face in the near future, the Guardian has sent Smasher, which is Cannonball's wife, to go and bring her aunt home to be her advisor. And for those not familiar with her aunt, is Deathbird, who not only killed her mother, but also killed her older sister. So that would be Lilandra's mother and Lilandra's older sister, just to clarify. But Sunspot can't help himself. He's like, "Yeah, buddy, I think I'm in love." And that's it. And after you get past the 4 or 5 pages of Sunspot goofiness, it's actually a pretty fun comic book. Oh, and the cipher on this one, when you break it down, it is, "Have you heard the good news?" I've said it several times here on the channel that New Mutants was the one that I kept forgetting about because the first issue just did not resonate with me at all. It didn't even register enough for me to dislike it. It was just like, meh. But I really like this issue. I feel like they're going somewhere. I feel like this is really going to tie back into a big event at some point. The New Mutants are going. Can we keep calling them the New Mutants? They've kind of been around. They're all should be a bunch of old dudes now. Well, I guess it really depends on when you regenerated them or when you resurrected them. Well, not all of them needed to be resurrected. Anyways, sorry. My point is, I feel like we're gonna find out, somehow, and I think somebody mentioned this to me down in the comments or over in the Discord with Thinking Critical, that they believe that the Shi'ar Empire is actually going to end up providing weapons, or some faction within the Shi'ar Empire is going to end up providing weapons to what's left of Orcus. And that advanced Shi'ar technology is what's going to pose a threat to the mutants on Krakoa. Anyways, guys, tell me what you think. I definitely recommend New Mutants. It is creeping up the list. Past Marauders and Excalibur at this point, perhaps. Waiting till number 3 on Excalibur to kind of make my determination on it. I'm hopping right off this video, hitting publish on it, and immediately going to work on Fallen Angels number 2 to get that knocked out before New Comic Book Day. Hope you guys will go check it out. I appreciate you taking the time to watch. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And hey, if you have hit it, thank you. I sincerely appreciate the growth this channel has experienced because of you. Hey, leave a like, leave a comment, and let's discuss what y'all think about New Mutants number 2. And what do you think about Deathbird showing up? And what's that going to mean for the Shi'ar Empire? That's all I got, guys. Thanks again for watching Real Comic Stacks. Out.